You are living in a prison without walls, which is why you never even try to escape. You were born into a sleep, and what you call life is nothing but a collective madness, a massive dream shared by millions. Your parents, your teachers, your priests, they are all the jailers of your soul. They feed you the opium of traditions and beliefs so that you do not wake up. You think you are free, but you are merely a well programmed machine within this vast cosmic illusion. If you dare to truly open your eyes, your whole world will fall apart. And that is the most dangerous thing a man can do. Tell me, are you ready to lose all your lies to find the truth? My beloved ones, I see you. I see you moving, talking, striving, and struggling. Yet most of you are walking in a deep, profound sleep. You live in a world that you think is real, but it is nothing more than a sophisticated projection of your own mind. You call it the world, you call it reality, but the ancient seers called it Maya. Today you might call it the Matrix. And I am here to tell you, the Matrix is indeed real, but not in the way you think. It is real because you are dreaming it. And for the dreamer, the dream is the only reality there is. But I have a dangerous answer for you. An answer that will not comfort your ego, but might just set your soul on fire. You are constantly asking why. Why is there suffering? Why is there injustice? Why am I here? I want to tell you right at the beginning of our journey together today, drop the why. The why is a philosophical trap. It is a way for the mind to keep spinning its wheels without ever moving an inch. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, the book of secrets, we do not ask why, we ask how. Science asks how. Philosophy is a blind man in a dark room looking for a black cat that isn't there. Science, and especially the science of the inner soul, which we call Tantra, is about finding the light so you can see what is actually there. Before we dive deeper into the mechanics of this illusion, I want to ask you to be fully present here. If my words stir something in the depths of your heart, if you feel a sudden spark of recognition, do not let it pass. Share that spark in the comments below. Tell me what part of your own matrix is beginning to crumble. And if you feel that this light should reach others who are still lost in the dark, hit that like button and share this video. It is not for me, it is for the many who are still waiting for a knock on the door of their consciousness. Let me tell you a story, a Zen story. There was a famous burglar who was growing old. His son, seeing his father's hair turn white, asked him, "Father, teach me your trade. I want to carry on the family business when you retire." The father agreed. That night, they broke into a large mansion. They found a massive chest filled with expensive silks and jewels. The father told the son to go inside and pick out the finest items. As soon as the boy was inside, the father slammed the lid shut, locked it tight, and then went out into the hallway and made a tremendous noise to wake up the entire household. Then he slipped away quietly into the night. Imagine the boy. He was terrified, angry, and utterly puzzled. He thought, "My own father has betrayed me. Why would he do this?" He was trapped in a box, surrounded by darkness, and the guards were coming. In that moment of absolute crisis, the boy didn't have time for philosophy. He didn't have time to ask why his father was evil. He had to find a how. He had to find a way out. Suddenly, an idea flashed into his mind. He made a scratching noise and a sound like a cat. The maid, hearing the noise, thought a cat was trapped in the chest. She brought a candle and unlocked it. The moment the lid opened, the boy blew out her candle, pushed past her, and ran for his life. The guards chased him, but he threw a heavy stone into a well as he ran past, and the guards, hearing the splash, thought he had jumped in and stopped to look. The boy made it home safely. When he reached home, he was furious. He shouted at his father, "Why did you do that to me?" The father simply smiled and said, "Tell me how you got out." When the son told him the story, the father said, "Then you have learned the trade. You don't need me to teach you anything else." This is exactly what I am doing with you. I am locking you in the chest of your own existence, creating a situation where you cannot rely on me, or on books, or on dead traditions. You must find your own catch. You must find your own way out of the matrix. If you find this path valuable and wish to walk it with more focus, consider clicking the join button to become a member of our community. or perhaps use super thanks to support our work in keeping these teachings alive. We also have e-books available for those who wish to study these techniques in the silence of their own homes. Your support is what allows this light to continue burning for others. The matrix is the chest you are locked in. The chest is made of your beliefs, your identifications, your names, and your forms. You think you are your name, your body, your profession. This is the illusion. Shiva in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is asked by Devi, "What is your reality? What is this wonder-filled universe? Who centers the universal wheel?" And Shiva does not give her a lecture. He gives her techniques. He gives her 112 ways to wake up. He doesn't explain the matrix. He shows you how to hack it. The first step in hacking the matrix is to understand that your mind is a projector. You are not seeing the world as it is. You are seeing the world as you are. When you are angry, the whole world looks hostile. When you are in love, the same world looks like a garden of paradise. The world hasn't changed, only your projection has. To be enlightened is simply to stop projecting. To be enlightened is to see the screen of reality without the movie of your mind playing over it. Listen to the silence between my words. In that silence, the matrix begins to thin. You have been taught to value the noise, the ancient music in the pines that I often speak of is not something you find in a concert hall. It is the music of existence itself, which can only be heard when your internal radio is turned off. You are so busy talking to yourself that you cannot hear the universe talking to you. You are so busy being somebody that you have forgotten the beauty of being nobody. In the story of Eka, the disciple of Bodhidharma, Eka stood in the snow for days. When Bodhidharma finally asked him what he wanted, Eka said, "I have no peace of mind. Please pacify my mind." Bodhidharma said, "Bring your mind to me and I will pacify it." Eka looked and looked inside. He searched every corner of his being. Finally he said, "I cannot find it." And Bodhidharma laughed and said, "Then I have pacified it." This mind that you are so worried about, this matrix that you feel trapped in, where is it? If you look for it deeply, you will find it is not there. It is a ghost. It is a collection of memories and anticipations. It exists in the past or in the future, but it never exists in the now. The matrix cannot survive the present moment. That is why the system, the society, the church, the state wants you to be anywhere but here. They want you to be in heaven, in the future, in your career goals, in your regrets. They want you anywhere but in the present, because in the present you are free. In the present you are a God. If you are beginning to feel the weight of that freedom, stay with me. This is just the beginning of our deep dive. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next steps of this awakening. We are going to dismantle the walls of your prison, stone by stone. Turning inward, or parabrutti, is the greatest miracle. Buddha said this. Not walking on water, not healing the sick, but turning the gaze from the outside to the inside. Usually, our eyes are like windows. We look out, but we must learn to use them like mirrors. We must see the one who is seeing. When the seer is seen, the matrix dissolves. This is the dangerous answer. Because once you see it, you can never go back to being a comfortable slave. You will be an outcast in the world of sleepers, but you will be a king in the kingdom of the soul. Think about your life. How much of it is truly yours? Your thoughts are borrowed from your parents, your teachers, your culture. Your desires are manufactured by advertisements. Your fears are leftovers from childhood. You are a crowd. There is no you inside. This realization is painful. It is the moment in the chest where you feel you might die. But only when the borrowed you dies can the real you be born. As we move forward, I want you to experiment, not to believe, but to experiment. Tantra is about experience. If I tell you the water is cold, that is my knowledge. If you put your hand in the water, that is your truth. I am not interested in giving you more knowledge. You already have too much. I want to take away your knowledge so that truth can happen. If you are ready to put your hand in the water, let's continue. The chest is open, the guards are waking up, and the path to the well is clear. Don't stop now. This turning in, this parabrutti, is not a psychological adjustment. It is a total revolution. It is the only way to step out of the matrix. You see, the matrix is not made of steel and wires. It is made of your habits of perception. You have been trained to look at the periphery, never at the center. Imagine a great wheel, the universal wheel that Devi asks Shiva about. The wheel is spinning, moving fast, creating all the drama of the world. But at the very center of that wheel, there is a point that does not move. If you can find that unmoving center within yourself, the matrix loses its power over you. Shiva's response to Devi is so beautiful because he doesn't give her a map of the universe. He gives her a map of herself. He says, "Radiant One, this experience may dawn between two breaths. Think about it. You are breathing right now. You have been breathing since the moment you were born, and you will breathe until the moment you die. But have you ever truly seen your breath? You know the breath goes in and you know the breath goes out. But Tantra says the secret is in the gap. When the breath is all the way in, for a tiny microscopic fraction of a second, it stops. And when the breath is all the way out, before it turns to come back in, it stops again. In those two gaps, you are not a part of the matrix. In those gaps, your mind cannot function. The mind needs movement. It needs the flow of time. But in the gap, time stands still. You are neither in the past nor in the future. You are simply is. This is the most dangerous hack of all, because it is so simple that anyone can do it, yet so profound that it destroys the ego entirely. The ego is a traveler. It thrives on the journey from in to out. It cannot adjust in the stand still. I want you to try this right now as you listen to my voice. Don't force it, just observe. Feel the breath coming in. Feel that slight pause, and then feel it leaving. That pause is the door. If you can slip through that door, you will find a silence that the world cannot give and the world cannot take away. I see many of you are beginning to feel a sense of stillness. If this silence is touching you, if you feel a weight lifting from your shoulders, let me know in the comments. Write, "I am finding the gap." It helps to anchor the experience, to share it with this growing tribe of seekers. And if you feel that this work, this effort to bring these ancient secrets into the modern world is worth sustaining, please look at the join button. Becoming a member is like helping us tend the garden where these truths can grow. Your super thanks are also a beautiful way to show that you value this transmission of energy. We are not just making videos, we are creating a shift in consciousness together. The Matrix wants you to believe that you are your breath, that you are your body, that you are your thoughts, but you are the one who witnesses the breath. You are the one who observes the thoughts. If you can observe a thought, you are clearly not the thought. If you can observe the breath, you are clearly not the breath. This distance, this witnessing is what Zen calls the ancient music. It is always playing in the background, but the noise of your identification with the matrix is so loud that you miss it. Think about the pines. They don't try to be pines. They don't strive to grow. They simply are. The wind passes through them and they create music. They don't ask, is this music good? Will people like it? Am I a successful pine? They are in a state of total let go. This is what I am inviting you into. A state of total let go where you stop trying to be someone and simply allow the universe to breathe through you. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Shiva gives 112 such techniques. Why 112? Because everyone is different. One person might find the gap in the breath. Another might find it in the middle of an intense emotion. Another might find it in the moment of looking at a beautiful flower. The matrix is a lock, and there are 112 keys. My job is to rattle the keys until you find the one that fits your lock. You have been told that enlightenment is something to be achieved in the future, after years of struggle. I tell you that is a lie. The matrix lives on the idea of the future. It tells you tomorrow you will be happy, tomorrow you will be free. Just work a little harder, buy a little more, meditate a little longer. But truth is not in the tomorrow, truth is in the now. If you cannot find it now, you will never find it because it is always now. Even when tomorrow comes, it will come as a now. Look at your desires. What are they? They are just the matrix's way of keeping you on the treadmill. You want a better job, a better house, a better partner. Even your spiritual desires, the desire for peace, the desire for God, are still desires. They are still the mind. reaching out for something it doesn't have. Tantra is the art of being so content in this moment that desire has nowhere to stand. When desire disappears, the matrix vanishes like a mirage. I have written extensively about these techniques in our e-books, which you can find linked below. They are designed to be your companions in the dark, providing guidance when the mind tries to pull you back into the old patterns. Use them. Invest in your own awakening. It is the only investment that truly pays off. The matrix is real as long as you are a self. When the self disappears, only reality remains. You are like a drop of water that is afraid of losing its identity in the ocean. The drop thinks, if I fall into the ocean, I will be gone. And it's true, the drop will be gone. But the drop becomes the ocean. This is the dangerous answer. You must die to your small, matrix-defined self to be born as the infinite. Are you afraid? Good. Fear is a sign that you are approaching the boundary. The matrix uses fear to keep you inside the fence. It tells you that outside is chaos, outside is madness. But what you call madness, I call freedom. What you call chaos, I call the creative dance of existence. Stay with me as we push further into the unknown. We are going to look at how the matrix controls your emotions and how you can use those very emotions as a springboard into the divine. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. This journey is getting more intense, and you will need the support of this frequency. The matrix is real, but its reality is borrowed from you. You are the battery that powers it. Every time you say, I am angry, you give it power. Every time you say, I am sad, you give it power. But if you can say, anger is there and I am the witness of it, the power flows back to you. The battery is disconnected. The illusion begins to flicker. Listen. Can you hear it? Beyond the sound of my voice, beyond the hum of your computer, beyond the thoughts in your head, there is a silence. That silence is your true home. That silence is the ancient music in the pines. It has been waiting for you for lifetimes. Don't make it wait any longer. We are moving into a deeper space now. Let the words wash over you. Don't try to understand them with your intellect. The intellect is a part of the matrix. Let the words sink into your heart. Let them trigger a memory. Not a memory of facts, but a memory of who you were before the world told you who you should be. This is the path of the rebel. Not the rebel who fights against the world, but the rebel who stands apart from the world's illusions. To be a rebel is to be an individual, and to be an individual is to be undivided. The matrix divides you against yourself, against others, against nature. We are here to become whole again. This feeling of being a self, a solid, separate entity, is the ultimate glue of the matrix. As long as you feel you are a somebody, you are a prisoner. The society, the education system, the parents, they all work very hard to make you a somebody. They give you a name, a religion, a nationality, a set of ambitions. They decorate your cage with gold and tell you it is a palace. But a golden cage is still a cage. My dangerous answer to you is this: you must become a nobody. In Zen, we say that when you are nobody, you are the whole. When the drop disappears, it becomes the ocean. But the matrix is terrified of nobodies. A nobody cannot be controlled. A nobody cannot be sold a dream. A nobody is already home. Look at your emotions. They are the strings the matrix pulls to make you dance. When someone insults you, you get angry. Why? Because your somebodyness has been hurt. Your ego, that fragile balloon you have been blowing up since childhood, has been pricked. And the matrix loves your anger. It feeds on it. In that moment of anger, you are completely unconscious. You are a machine. Someone pushes a button and you react. Is this freedom? Is this life? I tell you, it is a sophisticated form of slavery. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, there is a beautiful technique for this. Shiva says, in the beginning of an emotion, or in its peak, stay centered. If anger arises, don't suppress it, but don't act on it either. Just look at it, watch it, as if it is a storm happening on a far-off mountain. You are the observer on the balcony. When you watch anger, a miracle happens. The energy that was going to become anger, that was going to burn you and others, is suddenly released. It is transformed. It becomes a cool light. This is the alchemy of consciousness. This is how you take the very bricks of your prison and turn them into the stairs of your liberation. I want to hear from you. Have you ever had a moment where you stepped back from an intense emotion and just watched. How did it feel? Did the matrix flicker for you in that moment? Share your experiences in the comments. We are creating a collective map of the exit routes here. And if you find that this perspective is shifting something deep within you, if you feel a resonance that you haven't felt before, hit that like button. Let the algorithm know that there are people seeking truth, not just entertainment. Your engagement helps this message breathe through the digital noise of the matrix. You see, the mind is always looking for a problem to solve. If there is no problem, the mind feels useless. So it creates problems. It creates the matrix so it can play the seeker. It is a game the mind plays with itself. You think you are looking for God, for truth, for enlightenment. But the one who is looking is the very thing that is in the way. It is like a man riding an elephant looking for an elephant. I am here to tell you, stop the search. The search is the problem. In the ancient music in the pines, I talk about how the truth is already here. It has always been here. It is the ancient music that is playing right now in the silence of your own heart. But you cannot hear it because you are too busy being useful. Society wants you to be a utility, a cog in the machine. A nobody is useless to the world, but he is the only one who is truly useful to existence. To be useless in the eyes of the matrix is to be a master of your own soul. If you feel called to support this path of uselessness, to help us keep this space of silence and truth alive, please consider using the Super Thanks feature or clicking the join button to become a member. This is not just a donation, it is a declaration that you value the light over the shadow. It is an energy exchange that keeps the fire of this message burning. Also, don't forget that our ebooks go into much greater detail on these 112 techniques of the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. They are tools for your rebellion. The matrix tells you that you are incomplete. It tells you that you need a better relationship, more money, a different body, or even a higher spiritual state. This not enoughness is the fuel of the economy. But Shiva says, you are already the seed. The whole universe is contained within you. You are not a part of the universe, you are the universe experiencing itself through a small window. When the window is dirty with thoughts and desires, you see a distorted world. When the window is clean, you see Shiva. You see the wonder-filled universe. There is a story of a man who was searching for the greatest diamond in the world. He traveled to Africa, to India, to the ends of the earth. He spent his whole life and all his fortune. Finally, old and broken, he returned to his own home to die. As he sat in his garden, he saw a glint of light in the stream that ran through his own backyard. He reached down and picked up a stone. It was the greatest diamond the world had ever seen. He had been sitting on it his whole life while he searched for it across the globe. This is your situation. You are the diamonds. The matrix is the dirt that has covered you. My job is not to give you the diamonds, but to help you wash away the dirt. And the dirt is made of shoulds and should nots. It is made of I am this and I am that. Listen to the pines. Can you hear them? They are not asking for anything. They are not going anywhere. They are rooted in the earth and reaching for the sky. This is how a human being should be, rooted in the body, in the now, but reaching for the infinite. The matrix wants you uprooted. It wants you living in your head, in the clouds of imagination. It wants you to be a ghost in a machine. To break the matrix, you must come back to your body. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel the air on your skin. Feel the blood pumping in your veins. This is real. The thoughts about your career are not real. The worries about your reputation are not real. They are just electronic signals in the matrix. But the touch of the wind, that is a message from the divine. In the Book of Secrets, we learn that even the smallest sensation can be a door to the ultimate. Shiva tells Devi to focus on the point where two fingers touch, or on the feeling of food in the mouth. Why? Because when you are fully present in a sensation, the mind stops. The matrix cannot survive your total presence. It only exists in your absence. When you are away, the matrix plays. When you are here, the matrix dissolves. I see many of you are beginning to understand. But understanding is not enough. You must do. You must practice. This is why it is called a technique. If you are a member of our community, through the join button, you know we emphasize the practice of these moments of awareness throughout the day. It's about making your whole life a meditation, not just sitting for 20 minutes in the morning. The dangerous answer is that you have no excuse. You cannot blame the world, your parents or the system anymore. Once you see that the door is unlocked, staying in the prison is your choice. The matrix is real, yes, it is a real illusion. But you are the one who gives it reality. Stop feeding the ghosts. Stop identifying with the drama. As we move into the next part of our journey, we will explore the mystery of the heart. The mind is the matrix's headquarters, but the heart is the gateway to the beyond. We will see how to move from the head to the heart, and finally beyond the heart to the being. This is the path from the noise to the ancient music. Make sure you are subscribed and that your notifications are on. You don't want to miss the moment the walls finally come down. We are going deep and the air is getting thinner, but the view is becoming magnificent. Keep watching your breath. Keep watching the gaps. The light is breaking through. Can you feel it? The matrix is flickering. The illusion is losing its grip. Stay with me. Stay awake. The journey is just beginning. The mind is the headquarters of the matrix, but the heart is the bridge to the beyond. You have been living in your head for so long that you have become lopsided. You are like a house where all the lights are on in the attic, but the rest of the building is in total darkness. The matrix loves the head because the head is a calculator. It can be programmed. It can be fed logic, ideology, and fear. But the heart is dangerous to the system. The heart cannot be programmed. It knows no logic. It only knows love. And love is the greatest rebel in the world. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Shiva gives a technique that is purely for the heart. He says, fix your attention on the heart center, and as you breathe, feel a great light radiating from there. This is not an imagination. It is an awakening of a dormant energy. When you move from the head to the heart, the matrix begins to lose its resolution. The sharp, cold lines of logic begin to melt into the warm, fluid space of being. In the head, you are a consumer, a citizen, a worker. In the heart, you are a lover, a poet, a mystic. I want you to pause for a moment. Put your hand on the center of your chest. Close your eyes. Can you feel the subtle vibration there? That is the ancient music trying to break through. It is not a sound that you hear with your ears. It is a resonance you feel with your soul. If you are feeling this shift, if you are feeling a warmth spreading from your center, share it with us. Write, "My heart is waking up" in the comments. This community we are building here is a field of the heart. By sharing your experience, you help others find their way to their own center. And if you feel that these teachings are providing you with the keys to your own prison, please consider supporting this work. You can use the Super Thanks button to give a gift of gratitude or click Join to become a more intimate part of our journey. Your support allows us to continue bringing these ancient secrets to a world that is desperately seeking light. We also have our ebooks, which act as a deep dive manual for these heart-centered techniques. They are there to help you when the matrix tries to pull you back into the coldness of the intellect. The head is always in a hurry. It wants to get somewhere. It wants to become something. The matrix thrives on this becoming. It tells you that who you are right now is not enough, but who you will be once you achieve X, Y, or Z will be perfect. This is the ultimate carrot on a stick. But the heart is always in the now. The heart doesn't want to go anywhere. It is perfectly content just to beat, just to feel, just to be. Devi asks Shiva, who centers the universal wheel? And Shiva points to the center of the heart. The wheel of the world, the matrix, spins around the stillness of the heart. If you are in the head, you are on the rim of the wheel. You are being thrown around by the centrifugal force of life's ups and downs. One moment you are high, the next you are low. But if you move to the center, to the hub of the wheel, you are still. The wheel may spin at 1,000 miles an hour, but at the center, there is absolute peace. This is why the matrix tries to keep you distracted. It gives you news, social media, entertainment, and endless problems to solve. It keeps you so busy reacting to the rim of the wheel that you never think to look at the center. I am here to tell you, stop reacting. Stop being a victim of the rim. Move to the hub. In Zen, we speak of the marrow. When Bodhidharma spoke to his disciples, he gave different levels of understanding. To the last one, Eka, who simply bowed in silence, he said, "You have my marrow." This marrow is the heart. It is the innermost core of your being. It is beyond words, beyond concepts, beyond yes and no. The matrix is made of words. If you can move into a space of wordless silence, the matrix simply ceases to exist for you. It becomes a shadow, a ghost that can no longer touch you. Think about love. When you are truly in love, does time exist? Does the matrix exist? No. In that moment of total melting with another, the world disappears. There is no past, no future, no me, no you. There is only the ancient music playing between two souls. This is why the society is so afraid of real love. It wants relationships which are just contracts. It wants marriage, which is a social institution. It wants anything that can be regulated and controlled. But love is a wildfire. It burns the matrix to ashes. I am inviting you to become a lover, not just of a person, but of existence itself. Look at the trees with love. Look at the sky with love. Even look at your own pain with love. When you bring love to anything, you bring the light of the heart to it. And the light of the heart is the only thing that can dissolve the illusion of the matrix. You are the seed that Devi asks about. A seed contains the entire tree, the entire forest, the entire universe. But for the seed to become the forest, it must die. It must crack open and disappear into the soil. This is the dangerous answer. Your ego, your matrix identity, is the hard shell of the seed. It protects you, but it also prevents you from growing. I am here to help you crack that shell. It will feel like death, but I promise you, it is the beginning of real life. If you are ready to let the seed crack, hit that like button and subscribe. We are moving into the most profound stages of this awakening. We are going to look at the silence that exists beyond even the heart. We are going to find the ancient music in its purest form. Remember, the matrix is not something you fight. If you fight it, you are still giving it reality. You don't fight a shadow. You simply bring a light. The light of your awareness, the light of your heart, the light of your presence. That is the only medicine. In our ebooks, we discuss the middle path of the heart, where you are neither rejecting the world nor getting lost in it. You are in the world, but not of it. This is the secret of the master. You can play the game of the matrix. You can wear the mask, but inside you are laughing. You know it's just a play. You know it's just a dream. And once you know it's a dream, you are free to enjoy it without being enslaved by it. Consider joining our membership to access deeper guided meditations on this heart center. It is one thing to hear these words, it is another to feel them vibrate in your own chest. Your super thanks and your membership help us create more of these spaces for transformation. Together, we are building an oasis in the desert of the matrix. Listen. The pines are calling. The music is playing. The gap is open. Don't look back. The world you knew is falling away, and a new world, a world of light, love, and silence, is waiting to be born within you. You are not a prisoner. You never were. You were just a god who forgot how to wake up. Stay with me as we descend even deeper. The next part of our journey will take us into the void, the nothingness that is the source of all things. This is where the matrix finally dissolves into the absolute. Are you ready? Now we are standing at the very edge of the abyss. Beyond the mind, beyond the heart, lies the great void, what the Buddha called Sunyata. This is the ultimate no man's land. In the matrix, everything is something. You are a person, you have a history, you have a future, but in the void, you are nothing. And this nothing is not a negative state, it is a state of being no thing. It is the source from which all things arise and into which all things return. If the matrix is the movie playing on the screen, the void is the screen itself, untouched, pure, and vast. I want to tell you about the fourth disciple of Bodhidharma, Eka. When Bodhidharma was ready to leave this world, he called his 4 chief disciples. He asked each of them to express their understanding of the truth. The first disciple spoke of the philosophy of the beyond, and Bodhidharma said, "You have my skin." The second spoke of the experience of bliss, and Bodhidharma said, "You have my flesh." The third spoke of the emptiness of all things, and Bodhidharma said, "You have my bones." But when it came to Eka, he did not say a single word. He did not give a lecture. He did not offer a concept. He simply stood up, looked into Bodhidharma's eyes with deep reverence, and bowed down in total silence. And Bodhidharma laughed and said, "You have my marrow." This marrow is the silence of the void. It is the realization that the matrix is not something to be explained, but something to be transcended. When Eka bowed, he was not a someone bowing to a someone. He was emptiness bowing to emptiness. This is the highest peak of consciousness. In this state, the matrix has no place to hang its coach. There is no hook, no ego, no I. Are you feeling this silence as I speak? It is a silence that is pregnant with possibility. If you are beginning to touch this space, I want you to share it with this growing circle of seekers. In the comments, just type dot or write the silence is enough. Let us see how many are ready to move beyond words. And if this transmission is helping you find your own marrow, consider using the super thanks button to support the continuation of these talks. To dive deeper into the specific meditations that lead to this state of sunyata, I highly recommend our ebooks on the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. They contain the exact techniques Shiva gave for entering this life beyond form. You can also click the join button to become a member. Our members often share their progress in these deeper stages of emptiness. The matrix wants you to be afraid of the void. It calls it nothingness, boredom, or death. It gives you 1,000 toys to keep you from looking into the abyss. But I tell you, the abyss is your true home. You have been a traveler in the matrix for so many lifetimes, wearing so many masks, playing so many roles. Don't you feel tired? Don't you want to take off the mask and just be? In the Book of Secrets, Shiva gives a technique for this. He says, look into the blue sky, beyond the clouds. Not at the clouds. The clouds are your thoughts, your emotions, your matrix dramas. Look past them. Look into the emptiness of the sky itself. As you look into the vastness, feel that you are becoming that vastness. If the sky is empty, how can you be full of yourself? The emptiness outside and the emptiness inside meet and become one. The boundary dissolves. The inside and outside were just labels created by the matrix to keep you limited. This is the dangerous answer because it implies that you, as you know yourself, must vanish. The matrix can handle a better you, a more spiritual you, or a richer you, but it cannot handle a disappeared you. When you vanish, the simulation loses its subject. Without a subject, the object, the world of forms, loses its reality. You become like a mirror that reflects everything but holds on to nothing. The clouds pass, the birds fly, the sun rises and sets, and the mirror remains empty, pure, and still. You see, the ancient music in the pines is most audible in this total emptiness. It is the sound of existence when there is no one there to listen, and yet you are the music. You are not the one hearing the pines. You are the pines. You are the wind. You are the music. This is what it means to be enlightened. It is not a trophy you win. It is a disappearance you undergo. Many of you ask me, Osho, if I become nothing, how will I live in the world? How will I do my job? How will I take care of my family? This is the mind's fear. Listen, the body will continue to eat when it is hungry. The hands will continue to work. The heart will continue to love. In fact, you will work better. You will love more deeply because there will be no ego there to interfere. You will become a flute and the divine will sing through you. The music will be much more beautiful because your self won't be there to create discord. The matrix is a web of shoulds and should nots. In the void, there are no shoulds. There is only the spontaneous flow of life. Zen calls this sitting quietly, doing nothing. Spring comes and the grass grows by itself. This by itselfness is the secret. You have been trying to grow the grass for so long. You have been trying to make things happen. Drop the efforts. Let the matrix fall away. Let existence take over. If you are ready to let the grass grow by itself, stay with me. This journey is reaching its crescendo. Subscribe if you haven't and hit that like button to spread this silence. We are building a Buddha field here, a space where the matrix cannot penetrate. In our ebooks, we explore how to maintain this empty state in the middle of a busy marketplace. You don't have to go to the Himalayas to find the void. The void is right here in the middle of the noise. If you can find the silence in the middle of a traffic jam, you are a master. If you can find the ancient music in the middle of a chaotic office, you have had the matrix at its source. Support our work via Super Thanks or by becoming a member through the Join button to help us reach more people who are lost in the somethings of the world. Your contribution is a bridge for others to find their nothingness. Shiva asks Devi, what is this life beyond form, pervading forms? The life beyond form is the void. It is the consciousness that is there before you are born and after you die. The matrix is just a small temporary bubble on the ocean of this consciousness. The bubble thinks it is separate, it thinks it is real. But sooner or later, the bubble must pop. You can pop it now through awareness, or you can wait for death to pop it for you. I suggest you pop it now. Why wait? In the next part, we will discuss the ultimate step, the seed of the universe, and how you can become the universal wheel itself. We are moving from the void into the totality. This is where the dancer and the dance become one. This is the end of all illusions. Listen. Do you hear it? The pines are silent. The wind has stopped. The music is playing in your very cells. Don't look away. Stay in this emptiness. This is where you have always belonged. Devi's third question to Shiva is one of the most profound. What constitutes seed? In the matrix, you are taught that you are a finished product, a fixed entity. You are told you are a doctor, a father, a citizen, but Tantra says you are a seed. A seed is not a destination. It is a potential. It is a promise. It is the bridge between the unmanifest and the manifest. The matrix is a world of dead objects, but the universe of Shiva is a world of living seeds. Everything is in a state of becoming. What is this seed within you? It is your consciousness. It is the tiny, invisible point of awareness that has the power to give birth to a whole universe. When you look at a tiny mustard seed, can you see the massive tree hidden inside? No. To the logical mind, it is just a speck of dust. But to the eye of the mystic, the seed is a miracle waiting to happen. You are that miracle. You are the seed of the divine, currently buried under the heavy soil of social conditioning, ego, and fear. The matrix is the soil. It is necessary for a while, but if the seed does not crack, the soil becomes a grave. I am here to tell you, it is time to crack. It is time to let the you that the world knows die, so that the you that existence intended can begin to grow. This is the dangerous answer, because it requires you to give up your safety. The seed is safe inside its cell. The moment it cracks, it is vulnerable. It has to face the sun, the wind, the rain. But only by being vulnerable can it reach the sky. If you are feeling that internal pressure, that urge to break through the cell of your old life, you are not alone. There is a whole forest of souls waking up right here. If you can feel that growth, that sacred tension, tell me about it in the comments. Write, the seed is cracking. And if you want to support this garden of awakening, if you want to help us provide the light and water that these seeds need, please look at the join button. Becoming a member is like becoming a guardian of this forest. Your super thanks are also a beautiful way to say that you recognize the value of this transformation. And for those who are ready for the specific how, our ebooks contain the detailed maps of these 112 techniques. They are the manuals for the growth of your inner seed. Shiva says, the seed is centered in the universal wheel. Think of a spinning wheel. If you focus on the spokes, you see movement, friction, and change. If you focus on the hub, you see stillness. The matrix is the movement. Your soul is the hub. Who centers the universal wheel? Devi asks. You do. You are the center of your own universe. Not the ego you, but the witnessing you. There is a secret technique in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra that involves focusing on the third eye, the space between the eyebrows. Shiva says, let the attention stay at the third eye and let the light fill your being. This third eye is the command center that exists beyond the matrix. The matrix operates through your two physical eyes, the eyes of duality. These eyes see good and bad, friend and enemy, success and failure. But the third eye sees the one. It sees the life beyond form, pervading forms. When you look through the third eye, the matrix doesn't disappear, but it becomes transparent. You see the movie, but you also see the light coming from the projector. You see the actor playing the role, but you also see the human being behind the mask. This is how you live in the matrix without being a slave to it. You become a witness player. You play the game, but you never forget it is a game. Listen to the ancient music in the pines. In the first part of this journey, I told you the story of the burglar's son. He had to find a way out of the chest. His way out was his own intelligence, his own spontaneity. He didn't follow a manual. He responded to the moment. This is what the third eye gives you. The power of the now. The matrix is a program. It is predictable. But the third eye is unpredictable. It is the dangerous answer, because a man with an open third eye cannot be controlled by any system. He is too alive, too present, too much like a wild wind. You have been told that you are a sinner, that you are weak, that you need a savior. This is the matrix's way of keeping the seed from cracking. It wants you to remain a good seed, docile, small, and contained. But I tell you, you are a god in exile. You are the ancient music that has forgotten its own melody. In the story of Bodhidharma and his disciples, the one who had the marrow was the one who could stand in total silence. Silence is the highest form of the siege. In silence, the potential is at its peak. When you speak, you use up energy. When you think, you dissipate your power. But when you are silent, truly silent, inside and out, you become a concentrated point of divine energy. You become the seed that can move mountains. I want you to try something. For the next few minutes as you listen, don't just hear the words. Feel the silence behind the words. My words are just the frame. The silence is the picture. My words are just the wind. The silence is the music in the pines. If you can catch even a glimpse of this silence, the matrix has lost its grip on you. This is the path of Tantra. It is not about becoming holy. It is about becoming whole. It is about integrating the seed, the wheel, and the void into one single experience of living. You are the dancer, you are the dance, and you are the stage. If you find this perspective liberating, make sure you have subscribed. We are moving into the final stages of this transmission, where we will talk about the ultimate how, the technique of total acceptance, or tathata. This is the master key to all 112 doors. But before we go there, I want you to look at your life. Where are you still acting like a dead object? Where are you still letting the matrix tell you who you are? The moment you see the lie is dead. Truth doesn't need to be achieved. Only the false needs to be dropped. The seed doesn't need to learn how to become a tree. It just needs the right conditions to let go of its cell. Our e-books are designed to create those conditions. They are like the rich soil and the warm sun for your inner growth. Use them. And if you have the means, your super thanks and your join memberships help us reach the millions of other seeds who are still buried in the dark, waiting for a sign that it is safe to grow. We are a global Sangha, a community of the heart, breaking through the concrete of the matrix together. Shiva tells Devi that this life beyond form is not somewhere else. It is pervading forms. It is in the coffee you drink, the person you hold, the breath you take. You don't have to escape the matrix, you have to find the divine within the matrix. This is the greatest hack of all. When you can see Shiva in a piece of stone, when you can hear the ancient music in the roar of a city, you are truly free. Stay with me. We are almost at the center of the wheel. The air is vibrating with the music of the pines. Can you feel it? The seed is about to flower. The matrix is about to become your playground instead of your prison. Beloved ones, we have traveled through the mind, the heart, and the void. Now we come to the most practical, most scientific part of our journey. Remember, I told you that the matrix is a system of why. It keeps you busy with explanations. But Shiva in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is not interested in explanations. He is interested in the how. How can we enter this life beyond form fully, above space and time, names and descriptions? Devi asks this, and Shiva's response is a master class in the science of the soul. He doesn't say, "Believe in me." He says, "Try this technique." This is the fundamental difference between the matrix and the truth. The matrix is a philosophy, truth is a technology. Philosophy is like talking about water when you are thirsty. You can have a PhD in H2O, but you will die of thirst. Tantra is about taking a cup and drinking. It is a scientific treatise. Science asks how, philosophy asks why. The moment you ask why, you are lost in the intellect. The moment you ask how, you are on the path of experience. And experience is the only thing that can shatter the illusion. Look at your life. You are always asking why things happen to you. Why did my business fail? Why did my partner leave? Why am I unhappy? These whys are the walls of your prison. They lead to more questions, more theories, more confusion. I tell you, drop the why. Instead, ask how. How am I creating this sadness? How am I projecting this matrix? How can I turn my gaze inward? This turning in, what Buddha calls parabrutti, is the greatest miracle. Think about it. Usually, your energy is moving outwards. Your eyes are looking at objects. Your ears are listening to noises. Your mind is chasing goals. You are like a hunter, always looking for something out there. To turn in means to make a 180-degree turn. It means to look at the looker, to hear the hearer. This is the miracle. Walking on water is a trick for magicians. Healing the sick is for doctors. But turning the consciousness back on itself, that is the work of a Buddha. If you are beginning to feel the gravity of this turn, stay with me. It is a steep climb, but the view from the top is worth everything. If you feel a resonance with this scientific approach to spirituality, let me know. Write, I am choosing the how in the comments. And if you want to support this transmission, if you feel that these techniques are giving you a new lease on life, please consider using the Super Thanks feature on YouTube. It is a way of acknowledging the energy you are receiving. You can also click the join button to become a member and access our deeper, more technical discussions on these 112 methods. Our ebooks are also available as a constant guide for your practice. These tools are your oxygen as you climb this mountain of consciousness. Shiva tells Devi that this wonder-filled universe is not separate from you. The matrix is real only as long as you are separate from it. When you enter it fully, above space and time, the matrix dissolves into God. This is the secret of Tathata, total acceptance. The matrix thrives on your resistance. It wants you to fight it, to judge it, to hate it. But if you accept everything as it is, the matrix has no power over you. Acceptance is the ultimate hack. In the ancient music in the pines, I share the story of how Bodhidharma could see 1,000 miles away, not because he had psychic powers, but because he was so empty that there was no self to block the view. When you are empty, you are the whole. When you are full of yourself, you are just a small, cramped corner of the matrix. Eka, the fourth disciple, knew this. He didn't speak because words are part of the matrix. He just bowed. That bow was his how. It was his way of saying, I have vanished into the source. I see many people asking Osho, if I follow these techniques, will I become a better person? My answer is, I hope not. I don't want you to become a better person. I want you to become an enlightened person. A better person is just a more polished version of the same old prisoner. An enlightened person is free from the category of person altogether. The matrix loves better people. They are more efficient workers, more polite citizens, more predictable consumers. But a Buddha is useless to the matrix. A Buddha is a flame that burns the whole system down by its very presence. Shiva says, up to eternity, the flame goes on passing from hand to hand. This is why I am talking to you. I am not giving you information. I am kindling your inner flame. If you catch the spark, you will become a light unto yourself, and then you can kindle others. This is the only way to save the world, not through politics, not through charity, but through the chain reaction of enlightenment. You must be selfish first. You must find your own light. Only then can you be truly selfless. A man in the dark cannot help another man find the way. If you feel your flame starting to flicker, don't let the wind of the matrix blow it out. Guard it. Meditate on the third eye as Shiva suggests. Focus on the gaps between your breaths. Use the techniques in our ebooks to keep the fire burning throughout your day. And if you want to be part of the group that keeps this succession of light moving, join our membership. Your support through join and super thanks helps us reach those who are still shivering in the cold of the matrix. The matrix tells you that you are alone, that you are a separate ego fighting for survival. This is a lie. You are the ancient music. You are the seed. You are the universal wheel. When you turn in, you discover that you are not in the world. The world is in you. This is the dangerous answer because it takes away your victimhood. You can no longer blame your parents, your society, or the government for your suffering. You are the creator of your own matrix, and you are the only one who can dismantle it. Listen to the pines. The music is not coming from the trees. It is coming from the silence between you and the trees. It is coming from the space where the two become one. This is what Tantra is all about. It is the union of the subject and the object. It is the end of duality. We are moving towards the final realization. In the next part, we will discuss the concept of the end, not as a destruction, but as a fulfillment. We will see how to live as a new man who is both in the world and of the beyond. This is the ultimate rebellion. If you haven't liked this video yet, do it now. Let's push this frequency into the algorithm. Share it with someone who is stuck in the why. Let them know there is a how. And remember to check out the join button and super thanks. Your contribution is what allows this light to continue passing from hand to hand up to eternity. Stay awake, stay silent. The matrix is trying to pull you back into sleep. But the ancient music is louder. The pines are calling. The flame is burning. You are almost home. The birth of the new man is the only dangerous answer that the matrix cannot survive. Who is this new man? I call him Jhorba the Buddha. He is a man who is as grounded in the earth as Jhorba the Greek, yet as silent and centered as Gautama the Buddha. The matrix has always tried to divide you. It says if you want to be spiritual, you must leave the world. If you want to be in the world, you must forget the soul. This division is the greatest trick of the simulation. It creates a split personality in every human being. One half of you wants the luxuries of the world, and the other half feels guilty about it. One half wants to meditate, and the other half is worried about the rent. I tell you, be whole. This is what the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra is actually teaching. It is not a manual for monks. It is a science for living people. Shiva is the ultimate rebel because he is the householder who is also the ascetic. He lives in the world of forms, but his center is always in the formless. This is the integration you need to dismantle the matrix. You don't need to run away to the mountains. If you run away, you take the matrix with you in your mind. You must stay exactly where you are, but you must stay there with a new quality of awareness. Think about the flame. Shiva tells Devi that the first basic thing is that you must attain your inner flame. This is your only responsibility. The matrix wants you to feel responsible for the whole world. It wants you to worry about saving the planet, helping the poor, or changing the system. But I say to you, be selfish. This is the most misunderstood word in the dictionary. If you are not selfish enough to find your own light, you will only be a burden to others. A blind man trying to lead other blind men only leads them into a deeper pit. When I say be selfish, I mean find your marrow as Eka did. Find the silence. Find the center of the universal wheel. Once you have your inner flame, everything else follows. You don't have to try to help people. Your very presence becomes a help. Your light becomes a chain reaction. Buddhas never die. Enlightened persons never die because their light goes on passing from hand to hand up to eternity. But the unenlightened, those who stay as cogs in the matrix, they never truly live. They are just shadows chasing shadows. To live is to be a source of light. To live is to have something to share. If you are beginning to feel that flame flicking within you, do not let it go out. This is the most precious thing you possess. It is more valuable than all the silk and jewels in the burglar's chest. If you feel that these discourses are helping you protect and grow that flame, show your support. Hit that like button to spread this light. And if you haven't subscribed yet, do so now to stay connected to this frequency. This is not a hobby. It is a matter of life and death. The death of the illusion and the birth of the real. Consider clicking the join button to become a member of our inner circle. There we discuss how the new man operates in daily life, how to be Jhorba in the office and Buddha in the heart. Your super thanks are a way to keep this fire burning for others who are still lost in the dark. And remember, our ebooks on the Book of Secrets and Ancient Music in the Pines are the fuel for your inner flame. They provide the 112 specific hows that bridge the gap between where you are and where you could be. The matrix is a world of done things, but the new man is a doing. You are not a noun, you are a verb. Shiva's 112 techniques are all verbs. They are actions. Fix your attention. Focus on the gap. Look into the sky. These are not things you believe. They are things you do. The moment you stop doing the technique and start being it, you have reached the goal. The dancer disappears and only the dance remains. In the story of Eka, he had the experience of what Ananda called the Buddha land. This Buddha land is not a place in the sky. It is a state of being where you are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are no longer pushed and pulled by the matrix's desires and fears. You are the master of your own house. This is the marrow. It is the innermost core of your being that remains untouched by the drama of the world. I can see clouds 1,000 miles away, and I can hear the ancient music in the pines. This is not a metaphor, it is a description of a consciousness that has expanded beyond the small box of the ego. You can also hear it. It is your birthright. If you miss it, only you and only you will be responsible for it. The matrix didn't stop you, your own lethargy did. The simulation didn't trap you, your own identification did. Listen, just listen. In this very moment, the music is there. You have to be just like Eka, in deep gratefulness, in silence. It is immediately here, and it has never been otherwise. A turning in is needed, parabrutti. Stop looking for the black cat of philosophy and start finding the how of science. Use the techniques of the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra. Experiment with your breath, with your senses, with your very being. The matrix is real, as a dream is real while you are sleeping. But once you wake up, you don't ask why the dream happened. You just laugh at it. You see that it was just a play of energy, a trick of the mind. This laughter is the sign of the new man. He is not serious. The matrix is very serious. It wants you to take everything seriously: your career, your sins, your salvation. But the new man is playful. He knows that the whole universe is a Leela, a divine play. So, my beloved ones, I leave you with this dangerous answer. You are already free. You are already the divine. You are already home. You just have to stop believing in the walls. The walls are made of your thoughts, and thoughts are just ghosts. As we conclude this part of our journey, I want you to carry this silence into your day. Don't let the noise of the matrix drown out the music in the pines. If you have found value here, please share this video. Let it reach the hearts of those who are ready to crack their shells. Your comments, your likes, and your subscriptions are the ways we communicate in this digital age. Let's use them to create a wave of awakening. Check the join button to see how you can go deeper with us. Explore the ebooks for your daily practice. And if you feel moved, use the super thanks to help us keep this sanctuary of truth alive. The journey doesn't end here, it only deepens. We will continue to explore the 112 gates of the Book of Secrets in our future transmissions. Stay in the gap, stay in the heart, stay in the silence. The matrix is flickering. The sunrise is near. Can you hear the pines? they are singing for you. The transition from running why to how is the moment the matrix begins to lose its grip on your reality. You see, the mind is a chronic questioner. It loves to ask why, because why leads to an infinite regression of words, theories, and concepts. If I answer your why, your mind will simply take that answer and create another why out of it. It is a game of chasing your own tail. But when you ask how, you are shifting from the intellect to the laboratory of your own being. Shiva, in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, is not interested in giving you a theology. He is giving you a set of experiments. He says, in effect, don't believe me, try this. If you do this, this will happen. This is the only way to break out of the sophisticated projection that you call your life. Think back to the son of the burglar. He was locked in the chest. If he had sat there asking, why did my father do this? Why is life so unfair? What is the philosophical meaning of being trapped in a box? He would have been caught and likely killed. Those whys would have been his death warrant. But in that moment of absolute crisis, his mind was forced to drop the why and find a how. He needed a way out, and he needed it now. This urgency is what I want to spark in you. You are in a chest. The matrix is that chest. It is locked from the outside by your conditioning and from the inside by your fear. You don't need a lecture on the history of the chest. You need to make a cat sound. You need to find the spontaneous intelligence that exists beyond your programmed thoughts. That spontaneous intelligence is what I call the seed. Devi asks, what constitutes seed? This is such a beautiful question. The seed is the unmanifested potential of your consciousness. In every moment, you have a choice. You can act from your past, which is the matrix, or you can act from your seed, which is your future. Most of you are just repeating the past. Your reactions are pre-programmed. When someone hits you, you hit back. When someone praises you, you feel good. This is not living, this is being a machine. To act from the seed means to respond to the moment as it is, without any interference from what has been. I want you to look at your reactions today. When you feel a sudden surge of emotion, stop. Don't ask, why am I feeling this? Instead, look at the how of it. How is the tension rising in your body? How is your breath changing? How is the mind trying to label the experience? In that observation, you are moving from the periphery of the wheel to the hub. You are finding the center. If you are starting to see the mechanical nature of your own mind, share that realization. Write, "I am observing the machine" in the comments. It is the first step. Your support helps us provide these keys to more people who are still trapped in the burglar's chest. Our ebooks are also waiting for you, filled with the specific house that Shiva taught to Devi. In the ancient music in the pines, I speak about the marrow. The marrow is the very core of the seed. It is what Eka found when he stood in the snow. He didn't want a philosophy, he wanted his mind pacified. But Bodhidharma didn't give him a mantra or a ritual. He said, "Bring your mind to me." When Eka couldn't find it, he reached the marrow. He realized that the mind is just a collection of shadows. The matrix is a collection of shadows. When you look for the source of the shadow, you find only light. But you are so afraid of the light that you keep yourself busy with the shadows. This fear is what keeps the matrix alive. You are afraid that if you lose your problems, you will lose yourself. You are afraid that if you stop becoming, you will simply disappear. And I tell you, yes, you will disappear. The you that is a prisoner will disappear, but the you that is the whole will remain. This is the dangerous answer. It is a death and a resurrection happening in the same moment. The seed must die for the tree to be born. Are you willing to die? Are you willing to let go of your somebodyness to find your nothingness? The matrix is real only as long as you are absent. The moment you are present, the matrix becomes a transparent play of energy. Shiva tells Devi to focus on the life beyond form, pervading forms. This means seeing the silence behind the noise, the stillness behind the movement, the emptiness behind the objects. It is like looking at a crowded street and seeing the space that allows the people to move. Usually, we only see the people. We miss the space. But the space is what is eternal. The people come and go, but the space remains. I am here to point you toward the space. I am here to help you hear the ancient music that plays when the noise of your ego subsides. This is not a dream, it is the only reality. The dream is what you are living now. Waking up is the only how that matters. If you feel the urgency, hit that like button. Subscribe to this frequency. We are going to dismantle the why until only the how remains. We are going to find the seed and let it crack. We are going to become the marrow. Stay with me. The chest is about to be opened. The cat is about to meow. The light is coming. The wheel of life, the samsara, is what you perceive as the matrix. It is constantly spinning, constantly moving, creating the friction you call stress and the drama you call my life. But as Devi asks Shiva, who centers the universal wheel? This is the most vital question for anyone who feels trapped in the machinery of existence. If you are on the rim of the wheel, you are always in motion, always being thrown off balance, always subject to the centrifugal force of your own desires and fears. But every wheel, no matter how fast it spins, must have a center that is absolutely still. Without that unmoving center, the wheel cannot exist. You have been so obsessed with the movement of the rim that you have completely forgotten the stillness of the hub. The matrix is the rim. It is your career, your social status, your bank account, your anxieties about the future, and your regrets about the past. All of these are in constant flux. One day you are a success, the next you are a failure. One day you are in love, the next you are lonely. This is the nature of the rim. If you try to find peace on the rim, you are asking for the impossible. It is like trying to find a still spot on a hurricane's edge. The only way to find peace is to move toward the center. This movement toward the center is what I call meditation. It is not a religious act. It is a mathematical necessity for anyone who wants to remain sane in an insane world. Shiva does not tell Devi to stop the wheel. That is the mistake of the old ascetic religions. They tell you to renounce the world, to stop the wheel, to escape to a cave. But Shiva is a master of Tantra. He says, let the wheel spin. Just find the center. When you find the hub, you can watch the rim spin and remain untouched. You can be in the marketplace, you can be in a relationship, you can be a part of the matrix, but you are no longer of it. You become the silent witness. This is the dangerous answer because it allows you to be free while appearing perfectly ordinary. The matrix cannot detect a man who is centered. It only detects those who are reacting. I want you to check in with yourself right now. Where is your attention? Is it on the noise of your life, or can you feel a small, silent point within you that is simply watching the noise? If you can feel that point even for a second, you have found the hub. Tell me about this experience in the comments. Write, I am at the center. When we share these moments of centering, we strengthen the Buddha field we are creating together. And if you feel that this message is the how you have been searching for, click the join button to become a member of our community. Your support, along with super thanks, is what enables us to keep this flame burning. These teachings are not for the masses. They are for the few who are brave enough to stop being cogs. Our ebooks provide the exact techniques from the Book of Secrets to help you find this center in the middle of your daily chaos. In the ancient music in the pines, I tell the story of the master who was asked about the way. He pointed to a cypress tree in the courtyard. The questioner was confused. He wanted a philosophical discourse, and the master gave him a tree. Why? Because the tree is centered. It is not trying to be a tree. It is not worried about the matrix. It is simply rooted in the earth and reaching for the sky. The master was saying, be like the tree. Be rooted in your own center. When you are rooted, the winds of the matrix can blow. The storms can rage, but you remain unmoved. You hear the ancient music because you are no longer making your own noise. The matrix is made of becoming. It is always telling you that you are not quite there yet. You need one more degree, one more promotion, one more spiritual experience. But the hub is about being. In the hub, you are already there. There is nowhere to go and nothing to achieve. This is the ultimate rebellion. The system cannot control a person who is perfectly content. The system relies on your discontent. It relies on your itch to be someone else. When you find the hub, the itch disappears. You become useless to the matrix, but you become a blessing to existence. Think about the burglar's son again. He found his how because he was pushed to the extreme. You don't need to wait for a crisis to find your how. Every breath is an opportunity. Shiva says that the reality may dawn between two breaths. That gap between the inhale and the exhale is the hub. That gap is where the matrix stops. If you can inhabit that gap, you are free. But the mind is so fast that it jumps from the inhale to the exhale without ever noticing the silence in between. We are here to slow down the mind. We are here to catch the gaps. If you are ready to stop being a victim of the rim and start being the master of the hub, hit that like button and subscribe. we are diving deeper into the science of the soul. We are going to look at how the matrix uses your very senses to keep you distracted, and how you can turn those same senses into doorways to the divine. Remember, the ancient music is not a sound you hear, it is a silence you become. And that silence is only found at the hub. Don't look for it in the future. Don't look for it in my words. Look for it in the one who is listening to these words right now. You are the center of the universal wheel. You are the seed. You are the life beyond form. Our ebooks are your guides for this inward journey. They are written for those who are tired of the why and are ready for the how. And for those who want to be the pillars of this temple of truth, your join memberships and super thanks are the energy that keeps this work alive. We are not just a channel, we are a movement of consciousness. Listen. The wheel is spinning, but you are still. Can you feel it? The hub is calling. The matrix is just a shadow on the wall. You are the light that casts the shadow. The greatest trick the matrix has ever pulled is not making you believe it is real, but making you believe that you are the one who is awake within it. You have been hypnotized since the day you were born. The society, the church, the state, they are all massive hypnotic machines. From the moment you opened your eyes, they begin to tell you who you are, what you should want, and what you should fear. They gave you a name and you accepted it. They gave you a religion and you bowed to it. They gave you a set of values and you built your life upon them. But none of these things are yours. They are all borrowed. They are all part of the social hypnosis that keeps the matrix running. To be an individual is the only way to break this hypnosis. And to be an individual is to be a rebel. Shiva calls this the world of Tantra, and it is a world where only the how matters. The hypnotic state you are in is maintained by the constant chatter of the mind. The mind is the radio through which the matrix broadcasts its signals. If you want to break the hypnosis, you must learn to turn off the radio. You must find the silence that exists beneath the chatter. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Shiva gives a technique for this. In the middle of the activity, stop. This stopping is not a physical act. It is an internal pause. Imagine you are walking down the street, lost in thought, worried about your work. Suddenly stop. Not just your legs, but your mind. Be totally present in that moment. Feel the air, hear the sounds, see the colors, but don't label them. In that split second of total presence, the hypnosis is broken. You are no longer a part of the simulation. You are the one who is watching it. The matrix wants you to be a reaction machine. It wants you to react to the news, to the economy, to the opinions of others. When you react, you are predictable. When you are predictable, you can be controlled. But a man who is centered in his own being, a man who acts from his own seed, is completely unpredictable. He is like a lightning bolt in a dark sky. He doesn't follow the script. He doesn't play the game. He is what I call the new man. This new man is not a better version of the old man. He is a completely different species. He is a man who has reclaimed his individual authority. He no longer asks, why is this happening? But how can I be totally present in this? Think about the ancient music in the pines. Why do I call it ancient? Because it was there before the matrix began, and it will be there after the matrix is gone. It is the music of existence itself. You have been so busy listening to the jingles of the marketplace that you have forgotten the melody of the universe. The pines are always singing, but you are only listening to your own internal monologue. You are like a man who goes to a concert but wears noise-cancelling headphones the whole time, listening to his own recordings of past concerts. I am here to tell you, take off the headphones. The music is happening now. The how of taking off the headphones is simple, but it is the most difficult thing in the world because you are addicted to the noise. Shiva tells Devi that this wonder-filled universe is a mystery to be lived, not a problem to be solved. If you approach life as a problem, you are already caught in the matrix. A problem implies a solution, and a solution implies a future. But life is not in the future. Life is in the now. The matrix is a world of dead objects and dead concepts. But the life beyond form, pervading forms, is a living, breathing reality. To enter it fully, above space and time, you must let go of your mental maps. You must be willing to walk into the unknown without a flashlight. The only light you need is the inner flame of your own awareness. I see many of you are still trying to understand this with your logic. You are trying to fit my words into your existing boxes. But my words are meant to break your boxes. If you can understand me, I have failed. I want to confuse you so much that your logic gives up. Only when the logic gives up can the marrow be reached. Ika didn't reach the marrow because he was smart. He reached it because he was desperate and silent. He realized that all his knowledge was just more walls in his prison. He dropped the knowledge and found the silence. This silence is the only dangerous answer. The matrix is a social contract. You agree to be someone, and in return the society gives you a sense of security. But this security is a trap. It is the security of the cage. The bird in the cage is safe from the catch, but it has forgotten how to fly. I am here to open the cage and throw you into the sky. It will be terrifying. You will feel like you are falling. But that falling is what I call flying. You have been taught to fear the abyss. But the abyss is where the truth lives. Shiva's techniques are designed to create mini abysses in your daily life. When you focus on the third eye, you are creating a point of stillness that the matrix cannot reach. When you focus on the gap in the breath, you are stepping out of time. These are the hacks. You don't need a massive revolution to change the world. You only need a small shift in your own consciousness. If enough people reclaim their individual authority, the matrix will collapse on its own. It cannot survive without your participation. You are the one who is dreaming the dream. Wake up and the dream vanishes. Listen to the silence between my words. That silence is the ancient music. It is the same silence that was there when Shiva spoke to Devi on the peaks of Mount Kailas. It is the same silence that Bodhidharma shared with Eka in the caves of China. This silence is your true inheritance. Everything else is just electronic signals in the matrix. Don't settle for the signals. Go for the source. The new man is coming. He is a man who is both Jorba and Buddha. He knows how to enjoy the world, and he knows how to be silent in the soul. He is not divided. He is whole. He is the seed that has finally flowered. And the flower doesn't ask why, it simply blooms. You have been told for centuries by the keepers of the matrix, the priests, the moralists, the Puritans, that your body is your enemy. They have taught you that the senses are traps, that desire is a sin, and that to reach the divine you must fight against your own biology. This is the most successful strategy the matrix has ever used to keep you divided. If they can make you fight yourself, you will never have the energy to fight the system. If they can make you feel guilty about your own skin, you will always be a slave to their forgiveness. But Shiva, in the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, gives a completely different answer. He says the body is not a prison, it is a temple. The senses are not traps, they are 112 gates leading to the ultimate. Look at how the matrix operates through your senses. It keeps you in a state of sensory overload. It bombards you with images, sounds, and tastes, but it never allows you to truly experience any of them. You eat, but you don't taste. You look, but you don't see. You touch, but you don't feel. You are always rushing to the next sensation, never fully inhabiting the present one. This is because the matrix knows that if you were to fully inhabit a single sensation, the I, the ego identity, would dissolve. In the moment of pure sensation, there is no room for the thinker. There is only the feeling. Shiva gives a beautiful technique to Devi. He says, while being caressed, sweet princess, enter the caressing as everlasting life. Think about the audacity of this. In a world that tells you to suppress your sexuality, Shiva tells you to use it as a bridge to the eternal. He doesn't say enjoy the caress. He says enter the caressing. There is a world of difference. When you enjoy a caress, you are still there as a taker, as an ego. But when you enter the caressing, you become the caress itself. The boundary between the lover and the beloved disappears. The matrix of duality of me and you melts away. You become the life beyond form, pervading forms. This is why Tantra is the most dangerous science. It doesn't ask you to go to a mountain. It asks you to go into your own sensation. It asks you to be so present in your body that the body becomes transparent. Usually, you use your body as a shield. You hide behind your skin. But through these techniques, you use the body as a lens. You focus your awareness so sharply on a sensation, whether it is the taste of an orange, the feeling of the wind on your face, or the touch of a loved one, that the sensation becomes a doorway. In that moment, you are no longer a person in the matrix. You are pure, vibrating energy. The ancient music in the pines is not just in the trees, it is in your very nerves. Your nervous system is the most sophisticated instrument in the universe. but you are playing it like a clumsy child. You are only hitting the pain and pleasure keys over and over again. Shiva wants to teach you how to play the whole keyboard. He wants you to hear the symphony of existence through your own ears. But to do that, you must drop the noise of your judgments. You must stop saying, "This is good and this is bad." You must simply be with what is. This being with what is the how of liberation. If you are eating, just eat. Be the eating. If you are walking, just walk. Be the walking. The matrix thrives on your divided attention. It wants you to be eating while thinking about work, or walking while worrying about the future. This division creates the ego. The ego is nothing but the gap between your action and your awareness. When action and awareness meet, the ego vanishes. When the ego vanishes, the matrix has no host to feed on. You become nothingness, as Eka did. And in that nothingness, you find the marrow of life. Consider the story of the burglar's son again. He was in the chest, in the dark. He didn't have any scriptures or philosophy. He only had his senses. He heard the maid coming. He used his voice to mimic a cat. He used the movement of the air to find the exit. He was totally in his body. In that moment of life and death, he was not a son or a thief. He was pure, intelligent response. This is what I want for you. I want you to be so rooted in your sensory reality that you become a pure response to existence. The matrix is a program of reactions. Enlightenment is a state of response. Shiva tells Devi that the seed of the universe is found in the center of the wheel. Your body is the wheel, and your awareness is the hub. The matrix tries to keep you on the rim, spinning with the sensations. Tantra shows you how to use the sensations to slide down the spokes to the center. If you are feeling a deep pleasure, don't just get lost in it. Watch it. Be aware of the one who we take the lead of the matrix, the heavy, dull, repetitive sensations of daily life, and we turn them into the gold of consciousness. We use the very matrix of our biology to transcend the matrix of our mind. Listen to your heartbeat. That is the ancient music. It has been beating since you were a tiny seed in the womb. It will beat until you return to the void. It doesn't ask why. It doesn't seek a purpose. It simply is. If you can learn to is like your heart, you will have crack the code of the simulation. You will be above space and time, even while you are walking on the ground. Stay in this body, stay in this moment. The 112 gates are all open. You don't need to knock, you just need to be. Now we come to the mystery of the third eye, the point of integration, where the matrix finally begins to crack. You have two eyes to see the world of duality, the world of the matrix. These two eyes are necessary for the horizontal dimension. They help you navigate the world of objects, the world of this and that, you and me. But these eyes cannot see the truth. They can only see the shadows. To see the reality, a third eye is needed. Not a physical eye, but a center of inner vision that edges beyond the two. This is the vertical dimension. When the two eyes meet at the third, the matrix of duality disappears and the world of oneness is revealed. In the Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, Shiva gives a profound technique for this. He says, close the eyes and see your inner being as light. This is not a visualization. It is not an imagination. It is a discovery. You are made of light. Your very cells are nothing but vibrating energy, which is a form of light. But because you are so focused on the objects that the light illuminates, you miss the light itself. It is like being in a room and looking at the furniture, the paintings, and the walls, but never noticing the light that makes them visible. The matrix is the furniture. Your consciousness is the light. Shiva tells Devi that the first basic thing is that you must attain your inner flame. This flame is not outside of you. It is the seed that Devi asks about. It is the core of your existence. Usually, your flame is flickering, covered by the winds of thought and the dust of desires. You are like a lamp with a dirty chimney. The light is there, but it cannot reach the world. My work with you is simply to clean the chimney. I don't give you the light. No one can give you the light. You are the light. I only help you remove the soot of the matrix so that your own flame can shine clearly. This is the dangerous answer, because once you find your inner flame, you become a succession. Shiva says that when you attain your inner flame, you can kindle others' light also. It becomes a chain reaction. This is the only way a Buddha continues to live in the world. I may disappear from the body, But if I have kindled a flame in you, I am still here. The light passes from hand to hand up to eternity. But the matrix is terrified of this succession. It wants you to be a dead lamp. A dead lamp is easy to manage. It doesn't start fires. It doesn't illuminate the dark corners of the system. But a living flame is a threat to every illusion. I see many of you are trying to find this light through the intellect. You read the book of secrets, you study the Vigyan Bhairav, and you think you have it. But knowledge is not light, it is just a description of light. A blind man can know everything about the physics of light, but he remains in darkness. You must move from the what to the how. You must practice the turning in, the parvrutti. Buddha said this is the greatest miracle, not walking on water, but turning the gaze from the outer objects to the inner source. When you turn in, you are no longer looking through the two eyes of the matrix. You are looking from the one eye of the soul. In the ancient music in the pines, I tell the story of Eka. He was the one who had the marrow because he realized that the silence is the only way to say the truth. The two eyes are the yes and the no. The third eye is the silence that is beyond both. When you are in the silence, the matrix has no way to hook you. It cannot tempt you with a yes or threaten you with a no. You are simply a witness. You are the ancient music that plays in the pines when there is no wind of desire to disturb them. Shiva asks Devi to consider who centers the universal wheel. The wheel of the world is made of light and shadow, birth and death, success and failure. But the hub of the wheel is the inner flame. If you are centered in the flame, the wheel can spin as fast as it wants. The matrix can go through all its dramas, and you remain untouched. You are above space and time, names and descriptions. You are the life beyond form, pervading forms. This is not a state you reach after death. It is a state you inhabit right now, in the middle of your life. The matrix wants you to be responsible. It wants you to worry about others before you have found yourself. It tells you that being selfish is a sin, but I tell you, be selfish. If you don't have your own light, how can you help anyone else? You will only be a blind man leading the blind. Get out of this madness of helping others and just help yourself. Find your marrow, find your flame. Once you become a source of light, things start happening as a consequence. You don't do the helping, the light does it. Many will share it, many will be enlightened through it, but it happens spontaneously, like the grass growing by itself. Think about the burbler's son one more time. He didn't have to learn how to be a burbler. He had to learn how to be present. When his father locked him in the chest, his inner flame was ignited by the sheer pressure of the situation. He had to find a how that was beyond his past knowledge. He had to be a seed that cracks open under pressure. This is what I am doing to you. I am creating a situation where your old matrix self cannot survive. I am pushing you to the point where your only option is to wake up. The third eye is the point of that awakening. It is the command center of the new man. When you look at the world from the third eye, you see that the matrix is not an enemy to be destroyed, but a play to be enjoyed. You see the wonder-filled universe that Shiva speaks of. You see that even the shadow is a part of the light. You see that the ancient music is playing in every atom of existence. You are no longer a prisoner. You are the master of the universal wheel. Listen to the heartbeat of the universe. It is vibrating in the center of your forehead. It is calling you to come home, to the one eye that sees only truth. Drop the duality. Drop the why. Become the how. Become the flame. This inner flame is the marrow of your existence. You have been living on the skin. You have been playing with the flesh. You have even tried to touch the bones through your philosophies and religions. But until you reach the marrow, you remain a stranger to yourself. The matrix is a surface phenomenon. It is all skin. It is the outer layer of reality that is visible to the two eyes of duality. But the marrow is hidden. It is the life beyond form, pervading forms that Devi asks about. It is the silent center of the universal wheel. To reach it, you don't need to travel outward. You need the greatest miracle, Parabrutti, the turning in. Someone asked the Buddha, what is the greatest miracle? He did not say raising the dead or walking on water. He said turning in is the greatest miracle. Why? Because everything in the matrix is designed to keep you turned out. Your education, your desires, your fears, your senses, they are all like one-way streets leading away from your home. To turn around against the entire momentum of your biology and your conditioning is the most difficult and the most rewarding act a human being can perform. It is the dangerous answer, because once you turn in and see the light of the marrow, you can never again be fooled by the shadows on the wall. You see the projector and the movie loses its power to make you cry or tremble with fear. Think about the 4 disciples of Bodhidharma once more. The first 3 were still in the matrix. The first one had the skin, the intellectual understanding. He could talk about the matrix, he could write books about it, but he was still a part of it. The second one had the flesh, the emotional experience of bliss. He felt good, he felt peaceful, but he was still identified with the feeling. Feelings come and go. They are part of the rim of the wheel. The third one had the bones, the realization of emptiness. He saw that the world is a dream, but he was still caught in the idea of emptiness. But Eka had the marrow. He didn't have a concept, he didn't have a feeling, he didn't even have an experience. He was the truth. His silence was the marrow. When you reach the marrow, you reach the seed of the universe. Devi asks Shiva, what constitutes seed? The seed is that point of absolute potential, where there is no duality. In the seed, the tree is not yet a tree, and the root is not yet a root. Everything is one. This is what it means to be above space and time, names and descriptions. In the marrow, you are not a man or a woman. You are not young or old. You are not a sinner or a saint. You are simply the witness of the whole play. This is the life beyond form. It is not a life after death. It is the life that is happening right now, beneath the form of your body and the form of your thoughts. The matrix wants to keep you busy with the why. It wants you to ask why you are suffering, why the world is the way it is. These questions are part of the horizontal dimension. They keep you moving on the rim of the wheel. But Shiva gives you the how. The how is the vertical dimension. It is a sudden drop into the center. If you are angry, don't ask why you are angry. That will lead you to blame your childhood, your boss, or the government. Instead, look at how the anger is happening in your being. Look at the energy of the anger without the label. When you look at the energy itself, you are moving toward the marrow. You are using the matrix of the emotion as a ladder to reach the truth of the being. This is the alchemy of Tantra, We don't reject anything. We use the burglar's chest to find the way out. We use the noise of the world to find the silence of the pines. We use the two eyes of duality to find the third eye of oneness. This is why I say the matrix is real. It is real as a tool, as a school, as a situation. If there were no chest, the burglar's son would never have discovered his own spontaneous intelligence. If there were no matrix, you would never feel the urge to wake up. The prison is necessary for the prisoner to value freedom. But the problem is that you have fallen in love with the prison. You have decorated your cell and called it home. I am here to burn your decorations. I am here to remind you that you are a visitor in this simulation. You are not a part of the machine. You are the one who is powering it. Every time you say, I am, and then add a label from the matrix, I am a doctor, I am a failure, I am an American, you are giving your power to the illusion. But when you say, I am, and then stay in the silence that follows, you are returning to the marrow. You are becoming the ancient music. The music is not made of notes. It is made of the silence between the notes. You are that silence. Listen. Can you hear the pines? They are not singing to your ears. They are singing to your marrow. They are reminding you of the time before you were born, the time before you entered the matrix. They are calling you to the Buddha land of Anand, a land that is not a place but a state of being. To reach it, you must be like Eka. You must be willing to stand in the snow of your own loneliness until the ego freezes and falls away. You must be willing to bow down to the silence until there is no one left to bow. This is the end of the why. This is the beginning of the is. When you reach the marrow, you see that the universal wheel is centered in you. You are the seed that pervades all forms. You are the how and you are the what. The simulation is over. Not because the world has disappeared, but because the dreamer has woken up. And for the one who is awake, the dream is just a beautiful play of light and shadow. Stay in the marrow. Stay in the silence. The matrix is a ghost that cannot touch you if you do not give it a name. You are the ancient music in the pines, and the music is playing now. My beloved ones, we have come to the final horizon of our journey. We have dismantled the mechanics of the mind. we have navigated the depths of the heart. We have stood at the edge of the void, and we have reached the marrow of the bone. Now there is only one thing left: integration. The matrix is a world of fragments, but the reality is a world of wholeness. You have been taught to be this or that, but I am teaching you to be the all. This is the birth of the new man, the synthesis of the earth and the sky, of the matter and the spirit. I call him Zorba the Buddha. The matrix wants you to choose. It says, if you want the world, you must lose your soul. If you want your soul, you must renounce the world. This is the ultimate lie of the simulation. It is a divide and rule strategy. A man who is divided is a man who can be conquered. But a man who is whole, a man who can dance like Zorba and be silent like Buddha, is a man the matrix cannot touch. He is too vast for the system. He is both the root in the mud and the lotus in the sun. This is the dangerous answer that concludes our discourse. You don't have to leave the matrix to be free. You have to become so whole that the matrix becomes your playground. Look at the story of the burbler's son one last time. When he returned home, he didn't stop being a burbler, and he didn't become a monk. He simply knew the trade. He knew how to respond to the moment. He was no longer a victim of the chest. He was the master of the how. This is the state of the new man. He lives in the world. He eats, he sleeps, he works, he loves, but he does it all with a new quality of consciousness. He knows it is a play, a lila. He doesn't take the matrix seriously, and because he doesn't take it seriously, it cannot make him suffer. Laughter is the ultimate sign of the new man. When you can laugh at the absurdity of the simulation, you are truly out of it. Shiva tells Devi that this life beyond form is not something to be achieved in the future. It is pervading forms right now. The chair you are sitting on, the screen you are looking at, the air you are breathing, everything is a manifestation of the one divine light. The matrix is just a name we give to our misunderstanding of this light. When you see the light, the matrix vanishes and the wonder-filled universe remains. You see that every person is a Buddha in disguise. Every tree is a Bodhi tree, and every sound is the ancient music in the pines. Remember what I told you about the inner flame. The first basic thing is that you must attain your inner flame. This has been the central theme of our 15 parts. Once you have that flame, you are no longer a consumer in the matrix. You are a source. You are no longer a beggar for love or approval. You are a giver of light. And Buddhas never die. Your body will return to the elements. Your name will be forgotten by the matrix. But the flame you have kindled will continue to pass from hand to hand up to eternity. You are a part of a succession of light that is older than the world and newer than this moment. Turning in, Parvrutti, is the miracle we have practiced together. You have turned your eyes from the shadows to the source. You have found the seed and you have let it crack. You have found the marrow and you have let it speak. Now go back into the world, but don't go back as the old man. Go back as the new man. Be a Zorba. Enjoy the music. Enjoy the food. Enjoy the dance. Enjoy the beauty of existence. But remain a Buddha. Let there be a point within you that is absolutely still, absolutely silent, absolutely empty. Be a holiday. Life is not a task. Life is not a duty. Life is a celebration. The ancient music in the pines is playing now. It is playing in the silence of this ending. It is playing in the space between your thoughts. Don't let the noise of the world drown it out. Whenever you feel the matrix trying to pull you back into sleep, just listen. Listen to your breath. Listen to the gaps. Listen to the marrow. The music is there. The how is there. The freedom is here. You are the universal wheel. You are the seed. You are the void. You are the light. There is nothing to seek, nowhere to go, and no one to become. You are already that which you have been searching for across 1,000 lifetimes. The simulation is over. The dreamer is awake. I am leaving you now in this silence, but I am not going anywhere. I am in the pines. I am in the clouds. I am in your very heartbeat. Whenever you are silent, we are together. Whenever you are in love, we are together. Whenever you are empty, we are together. Goodbye, my beloved ones. If this journey has touched your marrow, if it has kindled even a small spark of your inner flame, then our time together has been a success. Remember to subscribe to this space of silence so we can continue to walk this path together. Share this light with those who are still in the dark. The flame must go on. Stay awake. Stay in the dance. Stay in the silence.